What's going on, guys? Tyler 543 here with another mock draft. Since my last video, we have had plenty of blockbuster trades go down. Things have changed, team needs have switched, players' jerseys have swapped. Let's get into the mock draft. Jaguars take tackle Evan Neal at number 1. Jaguars take one of the best tackles in this draft class. Trevor Lawrence needs a cornerstone tackle to protect his blind side for the future, so taking the perfect mix between size and athleticism in Evan Neal is probably the smarter pick for a team that just needs to protect their young quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson goes to the Lions at number 2. Lions could really use a great edge rusher on their defense. Taking the best edge rusher in this draft at number 2 is probably the best pick that you can make at this spot. Not only could you use an upgrade at the position, you could also be taking probably the best player in this entire draft class. Kayvon Thibodeaux goes at 3 to the Houston Texans. Kayvon Thibodeaux is a top-tier edge rusher that would be a game changer for the Houston Texans defense. Kayvon is a pretty scheme-versatile player, being able to play him in multiple fronts. Overall, Texans could really use a star like him on defense at the most important position, not named quarterback. So taking the best edge rusher available is certainly a good option for them. Ickey Ekwonu goes to the New York Jets at number 4. Ickey is a mauler in the run game, making him the best run blocker in this entire draft class. Jets should focus on helping their sophomore quarterback Zach Wilson and get him another first-round tackle prospect. Jets just miss out on the top 2 edge rushers, and I think with a tackle as good as Ickey Ekwonu being on the board, I definitely don't think you should be upset with this pick. Giants go offensive tackle Charles Cross at number 5. Taking Charles Cross at number 5 is a very safe pick, taking the best tackle available and not really needing to worry about this position for the rest of the draft, and not risking the Panthers taking him at 6 before your next first round pick at number 7. Charles Cross is a really good pass blocker and would give Daniel Jones even more help to prove he can be their future quarterback. The Panthers go quarterback Malik Willis at number 6. Now that Deshaun Watson has been traded to the Browns, the Panthers are now stuck with Sam Darnold. The head coach Matt Rule is in a very tough spot, needing to at least make the playoffs next season or he is gone. So while he scrambles to find a good quarterback, taking Malik Willis at number 6. Malik is a dual threat quarterback with a cannon of an arm and almost a Cam Newton style runner. Malik Willis is the quarterback in this class that has the most potential. He could be, if developed right, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. While he is a very raw prospect, he has the potential to be a future MVP. The Giants go edge rusher Travon Walker at number 7. Travon Walker is a freaky athlete who put on a show at the NFL Combine. Certainly one of the big-time risers who got a lot of more eyes on him. Giants need a game-changing edge rusher to go in and make big plays on this New York defense. Falcons go wide receiver Garrett Wilson at number 8. I cannot see a world where the Falcons go into next season with their best wide receiver being Olamide Zaccheaus after Calvin Ridley got suspended for gambling on NFL games, and then losing their second best wide receiver Russell Gage to the Buccaneers. The Falcons need a true number 1 wide receiver on their team. Garrett Wilson is a little safer of a pick than Drake London, and you already have a huge weapon in Kyle Pitts, so taking Garrett Wilson, who offers something fresh to this team, is a great pick at number 8. Jermaine Johnson goes to the Seahawks at number 9. After the huge Russell Wilson trade, sending him to the Broncos, the Seahawks got their first round pick here at 9. Jermaine Johnson is another guy who in the last few months has risen into a guaranteed first round pick. Jermaine Johnson is a great athlete who is a phenomenal run defender, being able to set the edge really well and plug the gaps. He's a good edge rusher. He's pretty pro ready, and I think that Pete Carroll would be all over this pick to slide him, just plug and play right at edge rusher for him. Kyle Hamilton falls to 10 to the New York Jets. Kyle Hamilton is still borderline the best player in this class. I get it, he didn't run as fast or have as good of a combine as a lot of people would have expected from him, but you got to remember he's 6'4", 220. I mean, he ran a 4.59, which, I'm sure a lot of people thought that he was going to run it way better than that, but he's a big guy. He plays a lot faster than he ran at the combine, and you got to remember, play speed is always more important than your 40 time. Kyle Hamilton is still a phenomenal safety prospect, and I don't know how much farther he can fall than 10. There's no way that a team isn't just going to take him because of how good he is. The Washington Commanders take wide receiver Drake London at number 11. After Washington traded for Carson Wentz, I still think they need a long-term project at quarterback, but taking one in the first round is just not getting the best value for your pick. Instead, I'm mocking them Drake London. Drake London is a really big and athletic player. He's just about 6'4". He plays really big, being able to go up and make 50-50 catches consistently. And once he gets the ball in his hands, his speed along with his size makes it very tough for tacklers to bring him to the ground. The Vikings go cornerback Sauce Gardner at number 12. Sauce Gardner is on the board, and the Vikings are all over this pick. The Vikings defense could definitely use an upgrade in the secondary, and Sauce Gardner is probably the best cornerback in this draft class. He's a really tall person with long arms, and he still runs really fast for a guy as big as him. He's a lockdown cornerback, and the Vikings could use a guy that you can just put on the other team's best wide receiver and lock him down for the whole game. And that's what Sauce Gardner can do. The Texans go defensive back Trent McDuffie at number 13. Texans get this pick from the Deshaun Watson trade, so they now have another first-round pick in the top 15. This is a pretty hard pick with a ton of really great players here, and the Texans have a lot of holes that they need to fill. I decided to go with a super versatile defensive back in Trent McDuffie. With everyone on the board, I think that he would almost be the most valuable player to this defense, being able to throw him at pretty much any position and just have him make a ton of plays. Being able to play him at nickel cornerback, play him on the boundary, or maybe even slide him back to safety. It's hard to find a player as valuable as Trent McDuffie can be. The Ravens go Jordan Davis at number 14. The Ravens need interior defensive line help, so taking the best one in the draft is a pretty easy pick. Jordan Davis is a guy that is 6'6", 340, who ran a 4.78 40-yard dash. That is absurd and should not be physically possible by anybody. Jordan Davis doesn't have to be an every down player, but if he is, then that certainly makes his pick worth it. Jordan Davis is a beast. Derek Stingley Jr. to the Eagles at number 15. Derek Stingley Jr. is falling down the draft board a ton. However, I still think he is worth this pick. If he's going to go back to his freshman year, Derek Stingley, he's going to be a phenomenal cornerback. I just think that Derek Stingley is too good for the Eagles to pass on him with 3 first-round picks. Just not taking a shot at a guy who we've seen be the best cornerback in college football. You can't pass on a player like that. So I have the Eagles going with Derek Stingley at 15. The Eagles go George Karlaftis at 16. Back-to-back picks for the Eagles, staying defense, going edge rusher. George Karlaftis is a big guy who is incredibly strong. He has good technique with his hands and as well as pretty good footwork. With his great hands combined with his size and strength, he could translate really well to the NFL and find a lot of success. The Chargers take offensive tackle Trevor Penning at number 17. The Chargers have been one of the most active teams in free agency, building up their defense and bringing in star players such as Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. They could go with Devonte Wyatt here, but I think that there will be great players later in this draft, so I have them fixing their huge problem at right tackle, taking Trevor Penning. I have the Saints going Treylon Burks at 18. Saints have to go wide receiver, and there are plenty of good ones available. Saints go Treylon Burks due to his size and versatility. As long as they play Treylon Burks in the the very special role where you just give him the ball and trust him to make plays, he has great hands and rarely drops the ball. With his big frame, he could develop into a really good jump ball wide receiver, and maybe even one of the best red zone threats in the entire NFL. The Eagles go center Tyler Linderbaum at number 19. Eagles, with their last first-round pick, switch it up and go offense this time, taking the best center in the draft class. Eagles don't have much long-term security on the interior of their offensive line. They drafted Landon Dickerson in the second round last year, who I think is a really good player, and Jason Kelce, who is still a good center, but he's probably gone in the next few years. So why not take a great center prospect and not have to worry about it, the position for a long time? The Steelers go interior offensive lineman Zion Johnson. The Steelers just made themselves instant Super Bowl contenders after signing Mitchell Trubisky, so you no longer have to worry about quarterback for the next 15-20 years. Getting Zion Johnson to plug and play at guard or center when you don't have a ton of talent on the your offensive line, pretty easy, pretty smart move. The Patriots take cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. at 21. Patriots just lost their number one cornerback J.C. Jackson to the Chargers, so this is a pretty easy pick. Andrew Booth Jr. is the best cornerback available, and we know that Bill Belichick loves stacking as much players in the secondary as possible. Andrew Booth Jr. is a ball hawk who always knows how to win 50-50 throws. Overall, he's just a big-time playmaker. The Packers go wide receiver Jameson Williams at number 22. My team, the Green Bay Packers, just traded away the best wide receiver in the NFL for Jameson Williams and another pick later in this draft in the second round. In terms of what wide receivers go for in the trade market, Amari Cooper just got traded to the Browns for a 5th. Robert Woods just got traded for a 6th-round pick. So in terms of value, it's better than what the Texans got for trading away DeAndre Hopkins, who at that time was arguably the best wide receiver in the league. The way that I look at the situation, it's impossible to justify trading away the best wide receiver in the NFL because you're not going to find somebody better than him. But now moving on to Jameson Williams, he's a super fast and quick wide receiver and would give Aaron Rodgers a serious deep threat on this offense. The Cardinals go cornerback Kaiir Elam at 23. Cardinals need a cornerback, and at the time of recording this, they have not addressed that at all in free agency. Kaiir Elam, to me, is the best cornerback available. Kaiir Elam is a very balanced corner who is great in press man and has shown to be a very smart player in zone coverage. Kenyon Green goes to the Cowboys at number 24. Cowboys can really use a new piece on their offensive line. After losing La'el Collins, this O-line is declining pretty quick, and they really need a new plug-and-play guard. Kenyon Green offers a ton of versatility, with the Cowboys being able to play him at any spot they want. Play him at guard. If you need to slide him out to right tackle for now, you can do that. Kenyon Green can really go wherever you need him to play. Devonte Wyatt goes to the Bills at 25. Bills signed Von Miller to a huge contract worth $120 million over 6 years. While he will almost certainly not see the end of that contract, it's still a ton of money. Bills should continue to build up their front seven, and with the big interior defensive lineman Devonte Wyatt still here, the Bills make this pick without a second thought. Nakobe Dean goes to the Titans at number 26. Nakobe Dean, probably the best linebacker in this draft, goes to a linebacker-needy team, the Titans. While wide receiver is a pretty big need for this team, you still have a good duo with the young A.J. Brown and the guy you just traded for, Robert Woods. At this pick at 26, it's just a good player going to a good team that could really use a player like him. Nakobe Dean, being my favorite player in this draft, is the complete package. The only knock on him is he is a little bit smaller than some teams may like, but I've yet to see that really hurt him as a player. He's still one of the best linebacker prospects in this entire draft, and I think that he's going to translate really well to the NFL. The Buccaneers select Chris Olave at 27. What a wild offseason for the Buccaneers, going from being Super Bowl contenders to arguably not even making the playoffs to Super Bowl contenders once again. Chris Godwin tore his ACL, and after losing Antonio Brown late last season, it really hurt them in the playoffs not having a reliable wide receiver outside of Mike Evans. Chris Olave might be the most consistent wide receiver in this entire draft class. He's going to give Tom Brady a very solid separator for what he would assume to be the rest of his career. David Ojabo goes to the Packers at 28. Now we have another freaky athletic edge rusher, this time here to the Packers. I understand that he just suffered a really bad injury on his Achilles. However, I think that he has too much talent to fall into the second round. Packers could really use a long-term solution on the other side of Rashawn Gary, and for now, a nice depth piece to add to the edge rushing core. The Chiefs select Christian Watson, the wide receiver, at 29. After an absolutely insane trade with Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins, the Chiefs are now left with the Mecole Hardman and their two new free agent signings, Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You have three completely different wide receivers, with Juju being a big slot guy, Mecole Hardman being a gadget-type player, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling as a long-speed deep threat on this team. Now, Christian Watson is a tall wide receiver who just ran a 4.36 in his 40 time. Christian Watson would give Mahomes another big weapon. Now the Chiefs go Daxton Hill at number 30. Chiefs have back-to-back first-round picks, this time going defensive back Daxton Hill. Now Daxton Hill is a really good safety that you could just plug on either side and he will be very successful, as well as offer you plenty of versatility, being able to slide him to cornerback, as he is a very good nickel quarterback. The Bengals select Bernard Raimann at 31. Bengals should still go offensive line no matter what, and taking the best one available has to be the pick. You just brought in La'el Collins from the Cowboys to play right tackle for you, but that doesn't stop you from drafting Bernard Raimann. He doesn't have to start right away, as he still is a pretty raw prospect, but eventually if you develop him properly, he should be a cornerstone piece for Joe Burrow and this Bengals franchise. The Lions select quarterback Kenny Pickett at number 32. For this spot for the Lions, how can you pass on Kenny Pickett falling all the way to 32? I completely understand the argument for don't take one this draft and wait next year when there are way better prospects than a guy like Kenny Pickett, but not every team that is trying to get Bryce Young is going to get him. So take Kenny Pickett now, as the value might be too hard to pass up at the end of the first round. The Jaguars select edge rusher Boye Mafe at 33. Boye Mafe slips into the second round, but Jaguars needing edge rusher, they take most likely the best one available. Jaguars don't have much on the edge outside of Josh Allen, so getting a good edge rusher at the top of the second round to pair with them makes a ton of sense. Devin Lloyd falls all the way to 34 to the Detroit Lions. One of the best linebackers in this class falls all the way down to 34, which is kind of crazy. The Lions could have taken Devin Lloyd at 32. However, I thought it would be smarter to take Kenny Pickett there, getting the fifth-year option on your young quarterback. Devin Lloyd he's a good linebacker prospect who fell a little bit after his combine because people thought he was going to kill it. And after a good combine, it wasn't outstanding, so he kind of fell a little bit. It's hard to find a spot for linebackers in the first round because all the teams that need a linebacker have bigger needs. So it's hard to find a spot for Devin Lloyd, so that's why he falls all the way down here to 34. The Jets go cornerback Kyler Gordon at 35. The New York Jets continue to upgrade their secondary, this time taking a cornerback. Don't worry, all the people saying Jets need to take a wide receiver, don't worry, I got you in a couple picks. Kyler Gordon is a versatile, being able to play on the boundary, or you could slide him inside a nickel cornerback, and he will be successful there as well. He's good in press and off coverage, so he gives the Jets a lot of options, being able to play him really wherever you want him to. The Giants take linebacker Quay Walker at 36. Giants take a really underrated linebacker, Quay Walker, who is pretty big linebacker compared to his Georgia teammate Nakobe Dean. Quay Walker is a really smart linebacker, almost always making the right plays. Looking at this Giants roster, you have Tate Crowder starting, so that can certainly be upgraded. Just sliding Quay Walker right into the middle linebacker role on their 3-4 is an easy fit and would give the Giants, something that a guy like Blake Martinez just can't do. Just to be an athletic, smart linebacker that can cover the tight ends. The Texans take Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, a guard/tackle going to the Texans. We don't really know if Davis Mills is the future quarterback, so worst case scenario, you get a good tackle for Davis Mills, and then next season maybe you're in the position to take Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. Tyler Smith is a violent offensive lineman, and the Texans don't have a lot on their offensive line. Jahan Dotson goes to the New York Jets. Jets take their wide receiver Jahan Dotson. Now Jahan Dotson is a route technician. He doesn't have the elite speed like some guys in this class do, but it doesn't really matter because he's going to get open no matter what. Jahan Dotson is going to give Zach Wilson a very reliable target on all 3 downs and just be an explosive wide receiver and score a lot of touchdowns. The Chicago Bears take George Pickens at 39. Back-to-back wide receivers go 38 and 39. Now George Pickens has the potential to be more of a number 1 wide receiver. Injuries kind of set George Pickens' college career back a little bit. However, if the Bears want a big-time wide receiver to replace Allen Robinson for Justin Fields, George Pickens is the best one available. The Seahawks select quarterback Matt Corral at 40. The Seahawks need a quarterback, something I did not think I would do in a mock draft this year. The Seahawks have Drew Lock, who is not the future quarterback on the Seahawks team. Matt Corral still being available this late at 40. It's just too hard to not take a shot at a quarterback as talented as Matt Corral. With a huge arm and a very mobile quarterback like Matt Corral, he could be very successful in a place like Seattle with a super talented coach like Pete Carroll. And then back-to-back picks for the Seahawks. This time they go Daniel Faalele, the tackle, at 41. Then they take their future cornerstone tackle for Matt Corral. Daniel Faalele is huge. He might be the biggest person in this class. Someone tell me in the comments if he is. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, as of time recording this, their tackles are Greg Eland and Jake Curhan. So you can easily upgrade at that position. Daniel Faalele is so big. Edge rushers just can't get around him fast enough. So taking a tackle for your young quarterback, honestly, this is just an easy pick. The Colts go tackle Nick Petit-Frere. Matt Ryan just got traded to the Colts. A ton of crazy moves this offseason. However, we all know that Matt Ryan is a statue and does not leave the pocket. You cannot roll out next season with Matt Pryor as your starting blindside tackle for Matt Ryan. You need to give him all the protection possible and try to make a good run in the playoffs this year. The Falcons go edge rusher Arnold at 43. Let's be honest, Falcons are not competing this season. I hope they make the playoffs and then people play this clip over and over and over again. But they're going to have a top draft pick next season. Taking Desmond Ridder or Sam Howell right now would be such a waste because you're probably taking one next draft instead. But back to the pick. Arnold is a consistent defensive end who is able to use strength to get past the offensive line, and he has good hands to beat linemen with technique as well. The Browns select Logan Hall. Logan Hall is a versatile defensive lineman who probably fits better at an interior role playing defensive tackle, but if you want to rotate him out the edge every once in a while, it makes sense. He can do it. Logan Hall is very explosive, and adding him to the same defensive line with Myles Garrett would help him out a ton. You can use an upgrade at defensive tackle, and Logan Hall is a good one. Ravens go Roger McCreary, the cornerback. Ravens need cornerback pretty bad, and I really like Roger McCreary. He's a really talented player who is just good in all coverages. You have Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, but outside of those two guys, you literally have nothing. Ravens should really try to address cornerback in this draft. Why not take the best one available in the second round? The Vikings go safety Lewis Cine at 46. The Vikings take cornerback in the first and stay in the secondary, this time going safety. The Vikings have just kind of been treading water at safety for a couple years now. Just take a safety here in the second round. Fix half your problems at safety. For the next couple years while Harrison Smith is still there, play Lewis Cine opposite of him. And then once Harrison Smith is gone, you can slide him over, and really do whatever you want with him. Washington take quarterback Sam Howell at number 47. Sam Howell is a borderline first-round quarterback, so if the Washington see him fall to them in the second round, you might as well take him. Washington seems persistent on competing. In a bad division, they easily could make the playoffs. But Carson Wentz probably isn't the future. He can be there for a couple years, why not? But drafting Sam Howell gives you a backup plan if you need to try something else. The Bears go offensive line Darian Kinnard at number 48. The Bears took wide receiver with their first second-round pick, so here with their second one, you really should go offensive line. This whole draft, the Bears should focus on helping Justin Fields out as much as possible, and giving him a wide receiver and a versatile lineman is smart. Darian Kinnard could really play tackle or guard. For you, wherever the biggest problem is when the season starts, you can just slide Darian Kinnard right into that spot, and right away he'd be a serviceable starter. The Saints go Abraham Lucas, the offensive tackle, at 49. Saints just lost a really good tackle, Teron Armstead, to the Dolphins. You draft his replacement here, and it's easy to replace and then plug in at left tackle right away. Saints have one of the better offensive lines in the league, so why not try to keep it that way and keep Jameis Winston protected? The Chiefs go cornerback Tariq Woolen at 50. Chiefs are pretty weak at cornerback outside of L'Jarius Sneed. They don't have much. Tariq Woolen is a 6'4" cornerback who has only played this position for a couple years. Oh yeah, also he ran one of the fastest 40-yard dash times ever. He's 6'4" and he ran a 4.26. That's incredible. Obviously, you draft him because he has absurd speed with his height and arm length. If he can develop into, a better technique cornerback, he's going to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league. The Eagles go wide receiver Sky Moore. Eagles take wide receiver going with one of the best ones available, Sky Moore. Now, Sky Moore is a very consistent wide receiver. He's going to give Jalen Hurts a reliable weapon every down. He's a good route runner as well due to his elite footwork and quick snappy cuts. Eagles could really just use another wide receiver and continue to help their super young quarterback, Jalen Hurts. The Steelers go nose tackle Travis Jones. Steelers need a nose tackle, and Travis Jones is probably the best nose tackle in this entire class. Right now, Tyson Alulu is their starting nose tackle, and I know they just signed Montravius Adams. However, Travis Jones could walk in and win that starting role on day one. If the player's not long-term, you can always upgrade at that position. The Packers take defensive tackle Perrion Winfrey at 53. We're back to my favorite team, the Packers, and we could really use another interior defensive lineman. Kenny Clark is one of the best nose tackles in the league. He is great, and we just signed Jarron Reed. But Perrion Winfrey is a borderline first-round talent, and he could add some real depth to this defense. Dean Lowry is on a pretty big contract, and plugging Perrion Winfrey in his role and saving some pretty easy money is a pretty easy move to do. The Patriots take linebacker Christian Harris at 54. The Patriots could really use another linebacker on their team. Christian Harris started 3 years at Alabama, so that kind of shows that he's just a smart linebacker. Christian Harris is a very fluid, loose athlete who's also quick and fast. Patriots just kind of need another linebacker on their team, and I think at this spot, Christian Harris is probably the best one available. The Cardinals take edge rusher Cameron Thomas at 55. Cardinals just lost Chandler Jones to the Raiders, so immediately you need to replace him. The most important position on defense, taking a defensive end, and Cameron Thomas is a move here, as he is one of the best edge rushers available. You can have Cameron Thomas rush the passer from multiple spots, adding to his value, making him pretty versatile. The Cowboys take safety Jaquan Brisker at 56. Now, Cowboys don't have a lot of holes on their defense other than safety, so taking the best safety still on the board is a great pick for the Cowboys. It's pretty tempting to go wide receiver here in the second round, however, might as well address the problem at safety because there's still going to be plenty of great wide receivers in the later rounds that you can just take later. Darian Kendrick goes to the Bills. The Bills' cornerback room consists of Tre'Davious White. You should really explore upgrading the quarterback depth in this draft, and no better time to do it than here in the second round by taking Darian Kendrick. Darian Kendrick played on the best defense in college football, showing that he can hang with the best of the best in college. Darian Kendrick is really impressive in mirroring wide receivers. In my opinion, I think that's one of his top talents that he has. The Falcons go safety / cornerback Jalen Pitre. Falcon safety Richie Grant, who is most likely going to start at strong safety this season, who was their second round pick last draft, I really like. He's a good versatile defensive back, able to play nickel cornerback. Jalen Pitre is very similar to Richie Grant and versatile defensive back, able to play in most spots in the secondary. Now Max Mitchell, the offensive tackle, goes to the Packers at 57. Packers with their fourth pick in the top 60, this time addressing offensive line going tackle. Packers moved on from Billy Turner, so now there is this hole at right tackle. Who knows, maybe the Packers move Elgton Jenkins, they slide him out to right tackle. Then you don't really need a guy like Max Mitchell. However, taking him here in the second round, I am projecting we keep Elgton at left guard, and then there's just like this huge hole at right tackle, and I think we got to address this in this draft. The Buccaneers take guard / tackle Sean Rhyan. After the star guard Ali Marpet retired out of nowhere a couple weeks ago, there's now a gaping hole at guard for this great Tampa Bay offense. Sean Rhyan has 3 years of left tackle experience, so he does offer a lot of versatility to this offensive line. The 49ers go guard Jamari Salyer. The 49ers really need a guard just like the Buccaneers, and Jamari Salyer is still on the board. The 49ers could honestly use 2 guards, so taking one here in the second round is the bare minimum. Trey Lance will not be able to succeed as much as he can if he doesn't have as much offensive line help as possible. DeMarvin Leal goes to the Chiefs. DeMarvin Leal fell a ton after he was in my first round for a couple mock drafts, like a long time ago. He just hasn't lived up to the hype that he had before the season. He's still talented enough to go inside of the second round, and the Chiefs need a defensive tackle, so taking DeMarvin Leal to plug and play is a great fit. DeMarvin Leal could also slide out to edge if you see fit. Now the Bengals select cornerback MJ Emerson at 63. Now I know, the Bengals just signed the best cornerback in the NFL, Eli Apple. However, you could use a little bit outside of him and a Chidobe Awuzie. And MJ Emerson has very good size and length and is a very smart, patient cornerback. Now with the last pick of the entire mock draft, Kingsley Enagbare, the edge rusher, goes to the Broncos. Broncos have a really good edge rusher in Bradley Chubb, and Malik Reed's pretty cool. However, you can never have enough edge rushers, and 2 is not enough. Taking a guy with as much potential as Kingsley Enagbare to round out the second round is probably the smart, easy pick.